Hi everyone. Now let's talk about my Stronger by Science strength program, 5 times a week, reps to failure, week 2. So obviously my workout is split into 5 days. So I'll talk about overall the week, how it went, and also day by day. So going into week 2, day 1 with the low bar squat. So I did the 350 over warm up single as I'm going to it right now. Now it's 305 easy. 350 was a little harder than the last week's 350, but not a big difference. So I was ready for the 4 sets of 4 for 315, but it was grindier than I remembered or I expected. But then I remember when I did low bar, my reps will be always very grindy. So I ended up getting 8 reps on the last set to failure, which is the target. So I didn't surpass it, which is fine. But happy with what I got. But again, this is really reminding me how on high bar squats, my squat will also be more of a good morning, but it's less obvious. But my weight will be much less, right? Like in the mid 300s at the highest, but usually like low 300s for working sets. Not on this program, but before, right? Or like high 200s. So because I have more of the posterior chain in play, I can grind out reps more, right? So my lower back and my glutes, to a less extent, are taking the brunt of the weight on the way up, right? So as you can see, it's pretty slow out of the hole, right? And you see my hips shoot up. My hips shoot up more and more reps I do in this set, right? And at the time of the recording of this commentary, I've already done week 3, day 1, so I'll talk about that at the end of week 3 in that video. But it's even harder on week 3. But basically, it was very difficult to honestly go through the set. I was very nervous. I was thinking that I was gonna get 6, right? But I somehow got 8. And you can see, I was gonna go for one more there, but I was like, screw it, I'm probably gonna fail it. If I went for it, I would have gotten it for sure. But like my body physically, it was telling me to just rack it, right? And then that was the over warm-up for Incline Bench. Went pretty well. Like RP, 7. And then the weight calls for 160 for 4 sets of 6. Easy again, no problem. But definitely harder, slightly harder than the 145 for 4 sets of 7. And for the reps to failure last set, I got 14 with the rep target being 12. So happy that I'm comfortably hitting over the rep target. And I really want this to be driving up my bench. Right, my squat is going okay, I think, but my bench is going better, or more back to my peak strength around the Bulgarian method when I was doing that. So I think incline bench is going to be a big driver of that. And as you can see, I'm also grabbing a little bit narrower than I would before, because I would get like right chest pain or like armpit pain, but it's not really a close grip per se, but it is a little bit narrower than usual. So 14 reps there, and then did some accessories again. Like I did some pull-ups, which are not recorded, but I got like 4 reps on the first set, which the best number of pull-ups I can do is like 4 to 5. When I weighed in like the 230s, like low 230s, but I'm like 240 right now. Right, but I'm able to do four pull-ups, which is I'm very happy with. And then I did a few more reps in the first set with the assisted pull-up machine, and then I did 2 more reps for the second set. So 2 reps, not assisted pull-up. So I'm trying to do as many non-assisted pull-ups as possible, and then have the assisted pull-ups kind of help me get more volume in, right? But yeah, besides that, I did hip thrusts, Bulgarian split squats, as you can see, and face pulls. So that's day 1. Now, one thing I want to talk about for day 2 is my my squat. So I did low bar squats the day before this, right? Like less than 24 hours. And then I also did hip thrusts and Bulgarian split squats. So the next day, on this day, my high bar squat is definitely affected a little bit. Like my over warm-up single for 315 was harder than usual than if I were to do it fresh. But high bar is not a focus on this program. It's just more for, hypertrophy sort of, and for trying to get more squat volume in without having to tax my lower back or my posterior chain as much, basically, right? So the 210 pounds compost bench for 4 sets of 4 went pretty well. Got 8 reps for this last set. I kind of wanted 9 because 8 is the rep target, but knowing how these moved, I'm pretty happy. And there's one thing I noticed though is that when I pause, I kind of wobble the bar a little bit. I think competition, that's not ideal. But it's something that I need to be more aware of. And spotter press is one way to kind of help with that, which I am doing as one of my auxiliaries. But with these days where bench goes first, it's very surprising. By the way, I failed that last rep because I was going for 9. I'm surprised by how fatiguing bench is. Like, bench itself is not fatiguing, but the AMRAP is kind of fatiguing, and then going to like squats for so many sets, it is pretty difficult. Mentally, but also physically. Like I'm like sweating from bench because of the AMRAP mostly, and then going to high bar squats. But because I came from the Bulgarian method, right, doing the Bulgarian manual by Greg Knuckles, I'm more used to like lifting heavy very frequently. I'm not used to so much as volume, but I think that helps me kind of get used to, I'm just have to get through the day, and yeah. And then like I said earlier, this usually 315 is usually RP like 6 or 7, usually 6 on like a day if I'm more fresh, right, or if I don't do as much volume the day before. But it ended up being like a 7.5. Honestly, it's probably a 7, but because I definitely could have gotten 3 reps, but it felt heavier, right, because my body is still recovering from the low bar squat the day before and the Bulgarian split squats. But I just say 7.5. But it's definitely a little bit easier than the day 1 high bar squats, the 3 plates over warm-up single that I did. So, but yeah, this set was brutal, man. These reps to failure sets, like any sort of squat where you do more than 10 reps, or you're trying to push past 10 reps, and it's a weight that's like over like 65% of your 1 rep max, it's not going to be easy, right? And it's not like you're just stopping at 10 reps. You're trying to get, like you're aiming for 12 reps, but, ideally you want more than that, right? So it's very difficult. It's very mentally challenging, mentally taxing, but I was able to get through it. The goal with high bar squats is to get my legs stronger, but as you can see, the good morning pattern is definitely there to a smaller extent compared to low bar squats. But anyways, that's day 2. Now moving on to day 3. So day 3 was fun. I think honestly it's probably the easiest day out of the 5 days, because deadlifts, they're very fatiguing, right? But because I'm only, I lowered the number of sets I'm doing from 5 to 3. Like the default is you do 5 sets. So you do 4 sets, and the last set, the one more set being AMRAP. I lowered it to 3, knowing that I don't recover well from deadlifts, especially conventional. So it's not very fatiguing, honestly, on this day. But it was definitely a bit overwhelming because I was doing 325 for, 2 sets of 5 and an AMRAP, and I got 11. But now it's 350, right? It's 25 pounds more. 2 sets of 4, which wasn't that bad. And but the AMRAP, I was able to get 9, right? So I'm very happy that I was able to exceed the rep target by 1. And as you can see, that my lower back definitely is rounding. But one reason is because of the belt. Just kind of makes my back look like it rounds more. Also because I have a really long back, and that's just how my deadlift is gonna look. My back stays pretty, at the same angle pretty much. So the rounding, it's fine. And I definitely round less on sumo, but conventional just feels better to me. So, anyways, there you go, lockout. Yep, that's 350 for 9. When I say day 3 is easiest, not that it's like easiest to do, it's just the least mentally overwhelming, or like the day that makes me the least anxious, because I'm just not as nervous about deadlifts compared to squats, right? And shoulder press is honestly the least challenging out of all the different bench variations. I think pretty decent at pausing right above the chest, and the weight is a lot lower than my competition pause bench, so it's definitely not that difficult. So it's more of like a fun day for me. Granted, the most challenging thing is definitely the deadlifts, and plus this, like after these 2 exercises, I do barbell rows, right? And then after barbell rows, I do good mornings. So good mornings is pretty difficult after deadlifts and barbell rows. And honestly, good mornings is definitely the hardest thing in this day compared to anything else, even the deadlifts. But yeah, I was very happy with my form on shoulder press. There was one rep where like I think I kind of touched my chest barely a little bit. So besides that though, I think my reps look very clean. With the weight being 180, and so not much weight, but I'm happy with how many reps I got on this set. So, and then after this, you'll see that I recorded my first set of good mornings, 195 for 3 sets of 8. With the third set, I did AMRAP pretty much. I got 12. Not really AMRAP, but like I did more than I wanted to. I love good mornings. I think I don't feel in my hamstrings that much. I feel it more in my glutes, my lower back, which is fine. But the next day, my hamstrings are actually very sore. So I'm very happy about this exercise, and pretty decent day, I think, for this week. Now moving on to day 4. I like that even though I'm only in week 2 of this program as of this video, I'm still doing, weights that are pretty significant, right? Like after my over warm-up single of 255 on touch and go bench, I'm doing 220 pounds, which is not light, okay? It's heavy enough, I think, and it gets even heavier next week. I think it's like 235 or something, right? So the weight is definitely challenging, and because I'm benching so often, like 5 times a week, there's definitely enough stimulus there. And I really like the sets before the reps to failure, right? There's 5 sets, 4 sets being pretty easy, at least on bench. On squat, it's a different story, for low bar especially. But the high bar and pause squats are not that difficult, the 4 sets, but the AMRAP is pretty hard. But on bench, the 4 sets, right, before the AMRAP is relatively inconsequential, right? But it's funny that the weights on the side look like poop. It's like a stack of poop. But anyways, I got 9 reps for this set. I'm very happy I was able to pass the target number of reps. Touch and go bench is feeling better now thanks to me benching so often. But like I said, I respond to high frequency bench where I touch heavy weights. I need intensity and frequency for bench press, and that's what I need to progress my bench. If I want to maintain, I can do like 3 times a week and be fine. But honestly, 4 to 5 times is definitely ideal. But yeah, here's me warming up to over warm up single for pause squat. Pause for about just like a second or a bit less than that actually. And then For the working weight, it's 260, which is pretty easy on its own, right? But knowing that you have to pause these sets and the reps are not triples, right? Because I know when powerlifters do pause squats, they don't do more than 5 reps on the sets, maybe even just 3 reps. But doing 4 sets of 6, and then AMRAP set, which I got 13, is just very difficult because you have to master your technique by pausing every time. You can just not pause and just do the reps, right? So technique is there, but you also have to make sure that you get through the reps and exceed your rep target, right? Because the whole program is leaning on you increasing the rep target, right? If it's asking you for 12 reps, if you get 12, your training max won't go up, right? So you do want to exceed that by at least 1. And I forgot to mention, in terms of accessories, on day 4, I just do leg press and leg extensions, single leg, right? I do both legs for leg press and single leg for the leg extensions. I go hard on the leg extension especially, kind of as a finisher to the leg workout, lower body workout. And then on days 2 and 5, I do the same accessories, which I forgot to mention, but I basically do, I think I mentioned in the week 1 video, but skull crushers, ladder raises, and a type of curl, right? On day 2, I do hammer curls. On day 5, I do reverse curls. But yeah, that's pretty much it. On day 3, I do good mornings and I do some hamstring curls and some face pulls. But yeah, so enjoy me grinding out this very tough set of pause squats. But one thing I noticed is I think I might try to move my 5 days a week workout to 8-day or 9-day schedule, so I get a couple more days rest. I'm going on vacation in a week, so I'm not doing that yet, but after that, I might try to do that. So day 5. So last week for my reps to failure, I got 18 on, I think, 170 pounds. So I was very happy with that because the rep target is 14. And I got 15 reps today with the rep target being 12. So very happy with how my close grip bench is going. Granted, my close grip bench is pretty strong. It's almost as strong as my regular touch and go bench, except that when the weight gets really heavy, near let's say 85-90% of my 1 rep max, my close grip moves I think as fast, if not a little faster, than my regular touch and go bench when the weight is 70% of my 1 rep max, for example, right? So how much is that? That's 215, right? I say, or even 75%, 225, right? Weights definitely move faster when it's close grip, but when it gets to 250, 260, my touch and go moves just as fast, but my close grip slows down because of the longer range of motion, and I get stuck towards the middle, right? But as a more of a higher rep training tool, I love close grip bench. Anyways, back to my thought about moving my program to more of an 8 to 9 day schedule, because I feel like if I have an extra day between my day 5 and day 1, I think my low bar squat will benefit more, because I feel my knees being worked when I do sumo deadlifts on day 5, and I only have a whole day to rest for that. So maybe if I take an extra day off between day 5 and the next week, day 1, it might help. So that's something I might do. But like I said, I have vacation, so after week 5, I'll come back and try to do that. And doing days 3, 4, 5 in a row without rest is fine to me, honestly. It's just the amount of rest I might need between before my low bar squats, which is honestly the most important thing to me in this program. But also, I noticed on sumo deadlifts is that my form is pretty good on sumo deadlifts, and my back runs too. But there's a small chance that I might make sumo deadlift my main lift versus conventional. As you can see, as an over warm-up single, last week it was 400 and it was RP 5.5. This week I did 405 instead of 400, and it was RP 6. But I showed the two lifts to my girlfriend, and my girlfriend said the 405 on this day moved faster than the 400 last week. So I can see that on any given day, that I do sumo deadlifts, like on day 5, like 450 or 460 is there for sumo deadlift. So we'll see whether or not I make sumo deadlift my main deadlift. It's probably better for my lower back, right? Given that my lower back will be worked less if I do sumo as my main lift. But in terms of the context of this program, no, I don't want to do conventional and then rest one day and then do low bar. So having sumo deadlift and then resting one day and then doing low bar is better for my lower back, because I use my lower back a lot on my low bar squats. And it sucks to have short arms on deadlifts in general. As you can see, I'm pretty bent over on both lifts, on both sumo and conventional. Anyways, that's all, guys. That's week 2 of SBS strength program, and I'll see you guys in week 3. Peace.